slip into that vibranium suit and take a bite of your heart-shaped herb because we've got Black Panther news for you. I'm Alicia Malone and this is Screen Junkies News. In an interview with GQ, Get Out actor Daniel Kaluuya, who plays a loyal confidant to T'Challa named Wakabi, spoke about the nature of his upcoming film, Black Panther, saying, "This is an African blockbuster. This is like Game of Thrones. This is crazy." Game of Thrones, you say? Here to tell us if he means inappropriate sibling relationships or fighting for the throne is Dan Casey and Makia McCarthy. How you doing?
Great.
Yeah. Always love starting the day talking about inappropriate sibling relationships.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive right in there. Well, Makia, let's start with you. What do you think about this quote and where do you see the correlation between Black Panther and Game of Thrones?
There actually could be a lot of correlations made for it. I actually really love that quote because that kind of sounds like someone that maybe wasn't really aware of Wakanda or Black Panther, but was aware of Game of Thrones. And then because he's part of the movie, he's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I love that. There's that positivity in that world, like opening up for him. But yeah, there's a lot of politics, not fighting over the throne, yes, but between the different factions that happen, like just like it does in Game of Thrones, that happens in Wakanda. Like for instance, you have the White Gorilla Cult led by M'Baku. And there's a number of different cults. There's the lion cult. There's the crocodile cult. Actual Black Panther themselves, that's the cult of the panther god.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of political intrigue that happens.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a huge universe as well, Dan. Do you think that's kind of what he meant, that it's just so expansive?
Absolutely.
And has the political stuff?
Absolutely. I think Marquis hit the nail on the head. It's less about seeing dragons like Fin Fang Foom or Lockheed in this universe and more about sort of the intrigue and skullduggery and everyone vying for control of Wakanda and its vast resources. Because while they might not have Valyrian steel, they do have vibranium, the hardest substance in the Marvel Universe. It's what Captain America's shield is partly made out of.
Yep. You can't find it anywhere else except for this one country.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like a Comic-Con exclusive, but for Wakanda. It's their number one export, or rather, everyone's trying to get their hands on it. We saw a little bit of that in Avengers Age of Ultron with Andy Serkis's character, Claw. Ultron went there to... Yeah, I wish. That'd be an amazing crossover. It's basically Ultron used that to give himself a hot new bod that just wouldn't quit. I think to the point of Daniel Kaluuya's quote, it is definitely sort of all these disparate factions vying for control of a centralized throne. Less sword and sandals, more about the betrayal, backstabbing, and bloodshed that's inevitable to come.
It sounds fascinating. It sounds like it's something completely different and separate from what we've seen from the Marvel Universe so far. Maki, is there any different factions that you would personally love to see on screen?
Sure. Definitely. I would enjoy the Lion Cult. That's led by Sakmeet. She's amazing, but somebody that I would love to see, and I don't think that she's part of the. I don't think she's part of the movie this time, but it's Shuri. She is absolutely amazing. She's if I have to choose a favorite out of favorites. It's her. Yeah. Because she knows her, and you could liken her to Arya. If you want to go like the Game of Thrones route with it. You know how Arya, she's going towards her destiny, although her path is one of vengeance, but that's getting her to her destiny. With Shuri, she is very aware of her destiny. Her destiny is to be Black Panther, no matter how many other people tell her that she isn't. So she centers her life around striving for that goal. And then even when she gets to the point where to become Black Panther, you have to get the blessing of the Panther God. She goes through the trials for that, and she has a bloodline. That's another important thing. She gets to that point, and he's like, "You're arrogant. I'm not going to give you my blessing." She's like, "Well, I'm going to be Black Panther anyway." So I love her.
Cool. I hope we get to see her in the films.
Oh, that would be amazing.
She sounds awesome. Well, what Kevin Feige said is really interesting of Black Panther. He said, "It's a big geopolitical action adventure that focuses on the family and royal struggle of T'Challa in Wakanda and what it means to be king." So, Dan, what do you think about this quote and what that means for Black Panther?
I mean, it gets me really excited for Black Panther, a movie I was already up to 11 for in terms of my excitement because, I have Ryan Coogler behind the camera, such an amazing cast. But this, I think, really speaks to, like you were saying, it's going to be a bit different than what we've seen before, focusing more on a self-contained story of intrigue and betrayal. And, in the wake of Civil War, we saw T'Challa, Black Panther, sort of opening up Wakanda to the world, sort of revealing them a little bit. They sort of felt exposed after what happened after their delegation was caught in that bombing that took place in Civil War. And T'Chaka, his father, passed away. So now there's going to be this power vacuum. He's been off gallivanting around the world with, the rest of the Avengers. And I think people are going to be worried, why weren't you at home taking care of us? Like, Wakanda should always come first.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be an interesting dynamic to see that power struggle play out. Then you have other people like Eric Killmonger, this character played by Michael B. Jordan, who is just a usurping son of a bee sting, always trying to get that throne away from T'Challa. And I think he's going to be a real thorn in his side, sort of equal parts Jaime Lannister and Cersei Lannister united in one delightful Michael B. Jordan shaped package.
Wow.
I like that. Because definitely one of the levers that Killmonger uses to get himself eventually to the throne, however long he ends up holding it, is that he's like, Black Panther or T'Challa has been around all these Western influences. He's not Wakandan anymore. He's Avengers. He has their best interests in heart. And it doesn't help things that when he leaves, like T'Challa goes off to do diplomatic missions, he puts Everett Ross as his regent, and it's like, who's this weird guy? This isn't a Wakandan. So things like that, it just adds to the whole political intrigue, and it's just absolutely amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, just imagine ruling in my absence over the most technologically advanced nation in the world is Everett Ross, a.k.a. Martin Freeman.
Yeah, Martin Freeman in this Wakanda world. That's going to be interesting. And, speaking of Hobbit-related situations, Andy Serkis, we know he's playing Claw. How does he factor into all of this, Makia?
Okay, well, they changed Ulysses Claw's origin story just a little bit for the MCU. He's actually the person that's supposed to kill T'Chaka, T'Challa's father. But that's okay. We're cool with it.
Yeah.
It works. It works. I think more what they're probably going to go with that is he's probably going to be more like an evil Q for Killmonger and Killmonger's forces. I mean, that's my opinion of it. Because he's a smuggler. He's got access to all this technology. He knows the back alleys of things. And he also has an access into Wakanda. We know this because they already established it in the MCU. So chances are that's what it's going to be. And he's going to have a really cool cybernetic claw also. Made of vibranium.
And to bring it back to Game of Thrones, he is sort of the little finger of this scenario, supplying everyone who's trying to destabilize the order that already exists so he can profit off of everyone else's loss.
I like that.
Well, there's also another guy who may factor into all of this, who has an appendage as well, a different appendage. Frozen Sebastian Stan.
I was like, where is this going?
Yeah,
Michael Fassbender's over at Fox.
When I was saying that, I was like, this sounds really inappropriate, but I was trying to link them somehow. So do we know if Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier, will appear in this film at all? Does he connect to it?
I think he's going to be in the background of pretty much every scene that takes place at Wakanda HQ, just his face pressed against the glass, like, please unfreeze me.
Don't forget
me.
At
one point, during a pivotal moment when T'Challa's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to defeat Eric Killmonger. He's going to wake up, sort of blow like some hot air on the glass and like write a little message. You can do it, bud. No, I think that if anything, he will just be a very small part of this movie.
Small.
Maybe at the very end, or maybe you'll see him at the beginning like, oh, I know what that is.
It's like, oh, okay, this links it for me.
Do they need to have him as a link?
No,
Absolutely.
no, he's absolutely unnecessary at all.
Okay.
Well, for this particular story, as the story moves on, then yes. But I'm thinking something like post credits. There's just a slow pan of a wall, and then you see his cryogenic, and he's like this.
Yeah.
Help me.
He'll be like,
And then that's it. That's all
he'll
we
be
get.
like Frostilicus on The Simpsons, just stuck in the Quickie Mart freezer.
Yeah,
I do think
he'll be the Han Solo just in the background.
I do think it could be interesting, though, to have maybe M'Baku or Eric Killmonger sort of use the fact that they have this international war criminal on ice in Wakanda as a bargaining chip against them. Like, look, he brought this dangerous person into Wakanda, is keeping him here. Everyone else wants to extradite him. Why are we harboring this criminal when we could just be getting rid of him and then like severing our ties to the outside world?
Yeah, this movie sounds more and more interesting every day. I mean, I love Ryan Coogler, and I can't wait to see what he does with this whole universe. And yeah, Game of Thrones meets Black Panther. I'm into it. Dan Casey, Makia McCarthy, thank you so much for joining me. And we want to know, what other characters do you want to see in Black Panther? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please click here for more internets. Tweet us at SJ News, and make sure to subscribe to SJ News